our Thursday networking Zooms are about you guys. And so we want to sort of let you guys have the floor and talk about your businesses and, obviously like where you are, what you do, your wins, or even your struggles, right? So we'll just sort of start there and let you guys go. And I guess we'll do it in alphabetical order. So Candy, you get to go first.
So I guess I'd say I do 3 different things, which has been one of the hard parts about trying to figure out my website, because I don't just offer one thing. So I started with, a long time ago, I don't know when, 2007 maybe, I started writing, putting my writing to make music. So it's not really music, they're like meditations.
Mhm.
Music. Everything I do is a Christian ministry kind of and so there's stories with sound effects. So there's water or wind or whatever. So they're written to encounter the Lord and help people contemplate and spend time with him and ask him questions and then wait for him to answer. So they're not just telling them something, but they're actually bringing them into an encounter with God. And then from that, the Lord started talking to me about, I want you to do that one-on-one. So I did the albums for many years. And then over the last few years, I got training in inner healing. And so that's what I do now. Full-time is just meet with people and bring them into an encounter. So it's pretty cool. People are getting free from pretty traumatic things, from trauma, from pornography. I mean, how grown men will come in, they'll be covered in tattoos. They'll be, the big, muscly, scary ones that you think just got out of prison. They'll sit down in my chair, and then within 5 minutes, they're bawling. And I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful what you're doing. And so what God's doing. And so that's primarily, I guess, what I do. And then aside from that, I'm a blogger. And so I'm a prophetic dreamer. So I write a lot of those dreams and things that God shows me in he's very creative. And so I'm a blogger. And so those are messages to encourage the church, basically, or correct the church.
Yeah.
Whatever he's kind of highlighting to me. And so those are my 3 areas.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how long have you been doing that?
So about 7 years to 10 years, 30 years. I mean, it depends on.
Yeah, on which thing. Okay. And then do you is this how you make your living? Like sort of like those sessions and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The sessions is how, well, if my CDs were found and sold, which is why I'm with you girls. So my website is just not been found because I haven't known how to be found. And my hope is that I would have a residual income from the albums, that people would download the music. And so I do have okay sales at Amazon, but not enough to make a residual income, which would be really nice. So
Okay.
the way mostly I make my income would be through counseling.
Okay. Now I don't as far as like the albums, because you do like meditations with background, soft music and stuff. I listen to a lot of that stuff on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so they'll put them on YouTube with like either like a looping video of like a stream or something, or
Mm-hmm.
they'll just like have a flat sort of picture with the meditations and the music. And if you did something like that, like say on a YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
and you put your music out there on a YouTube channel, people will listen to it. Obviously, it's going to get out there and they're going to be listening to it for free. But then the more views that you have, of course, YouTube may decide to pay you for that, number one. But number two is at the end of those, even if they're, you know, sometimes hours long, right? Some of those are like 8 hours long, or like a sleep one where they have like 12 hours or more that they have them long. But you can always have like a little pop-up that says, you know, to either purchase, like a link that says purchase the album, or, you know, for more information or whatever. And that could you could garner attention from YouTube onto your site, to where people are like, I really loved this. I would like to listen to this in my car or whatever, right? And so that might encourage them to purchase an album. That's one way to do it, but you would have to sort of weigh that for yourself, right? Because in an essence, you're giving away your products for free, right? On YouTube or something like that. But then the benefit is that it's getting out there, and it could be providing some traffic for people to find you and to come in and purchase an album. Because I know like a lot of that stuff is, I mean, if they don't know that you do meditations, right, and they don't know what the meditations sound like or look like, they might be hesitant to purchase it like right off the bat, right? But if they like find you on YouTube and they can listen to your voice and listen to like, it's, you know, and like feel like a transformation in that process, and they connect with you on some level, that will encourage them to buy from you, right? And so that might be something that you might consider, you know, which would be a little bit different than like, say, the music industry where people are putting out music. I understand that, but this is a little bit different because you're approaching it from like a ministry standpoint, and but also it's your creative art, you know, it's your creative work. So you would have to sort of make that decision, but that would be my suggestion. Because I listen to a lot of that stuff on YouTube without ever purchasing anything. And there's like some favorite ones that me and my daughter have, that like when we go to sleep, when we're in Texas and my husband's here, we will listen to that stuff at night and just go to sleep. And so either it's like high frequency music, or it's like tones, or it's something meditative like that, that's just like very calming and relaxing or whatever. So that could be a way. And there's a whole market for that. Like some of those have like thousands and thousands of hits, you know? And so that's one way that you could make money in multiple ways, right? By the YouTube traffic, and also the traffic that would then go to your site to maybe purchase something. So, yeah.
Well, I did that, but maybe I did it wrong. Years ago, I actually took a portion instead of the whole album, because the album's long, and I did a slideshow, and I have a few of those out on YouTube. But I think where I get stuck, I've got the creative part down, but then how to keyword it, or how to make it where, do you know what I mean, professional, where anybody would actually find it on YouTube, is where I think that I need to grow.
Yeah, and Maggie's really good at the keywords on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube ranking is one of my specialties, actually.
Yeah.
So I can give you some tips and some help. There are some software, some of it's free, some of it's paid, that kind of helps you figure out what narrows down what keywords that you think people who would enjoy your recordings would want. Okay. It also does competitors research. So the great thing is you can go to somebody, if you know somebody who has a really active YouTube channel, who's sort of in the same sector as you can do competitor research, and it'll pull their keywords for you from their videos and from their descriptions. Yeah. And then there are a few other tricks too, like making sure you transcribe them, and then making sure, sorry, I'm eating a Jolly Rancher, sorry about that. Making sure that the description that you write for the video is a certain length and has links in it. And so one of the reasons that we're actually recording these networking Zoom meetings is because I'm going to use them to rank the YouTube channel. So there's one live on there. I didn't do last week's yet because I haven't had time, because we've been trying to get through a lot of this other video editing stuff. But last week's I will post this week, and this one I'll probably post on Monday, just so that I'm staggering it. So not posting everything on one day. But what I'll do is actually, if you go to the small business marketing group, this group on Facebook, you'll see in there, if you scroll down, you'll see there's an image. Let me share my screen so you can see it. So you know, can I share my screen? Where are my buttons? Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. Sorry, my computer's a little slow today. Sorry about that. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, and I have the wheel of death. But if you scroll down on the page, there's a graphic that looks a little like this one here. And it's actually a link to the YouTube video. Where is it? Here it is. So these are the ones that are going to go up on YouTube. So if you click this link, you can see kind of how I laid out the structure of the description. Again, sorry, my computer is very unhappy today because I'm trying to do too much at once on it, and it needs to be completely scrubbed. And
one of the things that
okay, so once it loads, you'll see they show the beginning of the description here, and then when you click on it, now it shows down the sidebar. It didn't used to do that. It used to show underneath. Here you go. So it says, is your business growing like you thought it would? And you'll see here, there's some information at the top. There's a resources section here, which gives some links to different things you can link to. There's more at the bottom, and then here are my keywords. Now, I haven't done a huge amount on this channel yet. I haven't even taken the time to go, oh, I also tagged the video so you can see what location I'm in. So this one was filmed here in MarketU. I mean, in Rancho Santa Margarita. If I go to the channel, I haven't taken the time yet even to go through and fill that out because I wanted to do it as part of our advanced course. So I wanted to kind of show you how we were going to build this out with our about page. So how to fill this out correctly, how to create both playlists and display content correctly on your homepage of your channel. And so that's part of something that's coming down the line for you in the advanced training, is how to do this. But I'd be happy to, jump on a call with you and talk you through some of the softwares that I use that really helped me do this. I ranked another channel on YouTube, and we did a video every day for 3 months. And I did the same thing, and I used 2 different softwares actually. And it worked. I mean, it really worked. They were getting 1,000 views a day, 1,500 views a day. Wow. So this practice does work. It just requires a little bit of consistency. Now, I'm not suggesting that you post a video every day. Like you don't need to do that. But if you were to start maybe doing 1 or 2 a month, and then making sure the description is correct, and using other things that you can do to share your channel, like use social media to share your channel, get more people there, encourage following, then you can continue to grow it. It is another part of your business though. So of course, everything takes time, right? And you have to figure out where you need to put that time, like where it's most needed. And so it's really a personal decision for you, but I do know how to do this. So if it's something that you're interested in, like we can jump on a call.
Yeah, I have that the music industry is the hardest for sales.
Yeah, yeah, it's very competitive. Yours is a little unique though, because
right, I have a niche
yeah.
because as I've looked out there, really isn't anyone doing what I'm doing.
Yeah,
there's like guided imagery and there's meditations, but there's not exactly what I'm doing with encounter, the actual encounter in asking God questions. And it's different. It's not just a meditation. So I do have a niche, but having a niche and knowing how to sell your niche is two different things.
Oh, yeah, and your target audience is important. So you're targeting, Christians,
Mhm.
right? Or you can, market yourself as Christian meditative practice or whatever, right? Because people will look specifically for those things because they don't want the new age stuff. So they want to eliminate some of that stuff. And so they will look for Christian. And then that is a really smaller market, right? You don't really have as many meditations or,
Right.
any of that, any of those YouTube videos for, reflection that are directly towards Christians. A lot of times, a lot of it is the more new age or, Eastern type practices.
Right.
And so because you're labeling yourself that way, it's going to be more narrow, but people will then your people will find you, right? You're not
Right.
going to get all these other kind of people that are, and then if you also use keywords like Maggie was saying, like trauma or healing or any of those types of things, people will look up those keywords and stuff. And so if they look up Christian meditations for healing or Christian meditations for trauma or Christian meditations for whatever, right? And however you want to put that, that's where they're going to stumble onto your videos if you've labeled those correctly and described those correctly and stuff. So yeah, definitely Maggie's a person for that.
Awesome.
And it doesn't work unlike Google. Google and YouTube, of course, Google owns YouTube. So it works very similarly. And then because you've ranked that in YouTube for those keywords, a lot of times that will show you up in those search engines just in a regular search engine result. Like if somebody looks up those keywords, and it's going to show up those videos, So that's another added bonus for that.
Awesome.
And then your blogging, you can monetize your blogging. So I don't know if you've been able to do that yet because you have a lot of content on your website.
Uh-huh.
So there are tons of ways to monetize your blogs. And we can actually do a training about that maybe next week in the VIP.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. I know a little bit about that.
I'm gonna put that on my.
I think that I need to go through my blogs and add keywords. And then the keywords that were put in my website, I don't even know if those are the best ones.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So then you're like building your whole site around keywords you chose that might not even be the best for your site.
But you have a lot of content. So that's the bonus, is that there's a lot to work with right there. And then it's just the interlinking and then monetizing that either through affiliates or paid traffic. So yeah.
Learning. Okay.
Dina, you're up next.
Yay.
Talk to us about your business and what you have going on.
Okay. Well, I do art. Excuse me. Anywhere from lettering to painting, mostly painting, acrylic, some watercolor. I've painted on numerous items from, a rock to a golf bag to a trailer to murals. My parents were in a gospel quartet and I painted their trailer and their lettering on the side years ago, though. I've been drawing since I was like 5. And it's just a talent, lettering and calligraphy talent runs through actually both sides of my family. So all these years, I've had paid jobs. Of course, as I've gotten older and I'm learning the business, I'm having to learn how to price things correctly. That's a whole nother thing. But I've just worked from home. I've just worked from home all these years, and it's something I did on the side. I homeschool both our sons. So they're like 27 and 29 now, but I have just my husband's allowed me to stay home and I've just had projects on the side. But it's not any kind of constant weekly paycheck, there's no real residual coming in. It's feast or famine. So what I'm doing is good quality work, but it is, just random. It's nothing consistent. So over the last few years, I've been watching other artists and getting training, and I'm in an art mentoring group. But knew that the Lord was pushing me to, get more public, to get a website. I've got a Facebook page and an Instagram, and they are linked whenever I don't unlink them, but I've not been consistent with it. So, and then life gets in the way, and things happen. And then I just have a lot of downtime. But anyways, I just need to, do what the Lord is leading me to do. My situation is I do different things also. So it's like, what do I narrow in on? What do you want me to put on there first? Most everything I do is commission work. I don't just sit and just paint all day, every day, and then I have a bunch of pieces. Normally it's commission, but I've also been all these years involved in ministry. My husband was pastor for years, and I'm involved in a post-abortive group that for men and women. So I've led groups and done one-on-ones, and I've been on a sabbatical for about 6 months because I just went through a hard time and just lost my father in November, my dad. And so up and through, I guess, February, I just decided it's time to get back to life, started feeling more a little normal. So that's where I am. I've been, like I said, I joined the art mentoring group, and then this come along, Daphne, with you and Maggie. And so I really feel it's a God sent that something I need to be doing. So even though I'm on a project right now that I'm almost finished with, and I haven't done a whole lot with this other than just listening to you guys in the training and registering yesterday for the portal, it's constantly in my head, and I'm constantly, okay, and I'm constantly praying, okay, Lord, help me to hone in. What do you want me to do? Am I going to just do greeting cards? Am I going to do just canvas work? Am I just going to do digital? My heart is very strong also. And I feel like I don't want to rush this 100%. I want to know, and I know he'll show me along the way, but I'm big on healing too. I'm Candy. I love what you do. I think that's amazing, and I want to check your stuff out. But most of the thing, I'm very big on encouragement. So I've been praying. Okay, Lord, I want to encourage people with my art. My motto on my Facebook page is creating art that brings both joy to the giver and the receiver, because I've seen that. And so all my items that I do is like, hey, could you create this for me? It's not something that they can just go buy at the store. It has sentimental reasons behind it, meaning, endearment to it. And my customers, and they are elated and overjoyed. And then when they give it away, then, it brings joy to them. So, and then that in turn fulfills me. And I know that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Now the one I'm doing right now is driving me nuts. It's just a huge project, and I'm like, okay, I won't be doing that again. So okay, I understand. So it's like, okay, God, what do you, where do I start? What do you want me to do? The whole web thing honestly scares me to death. The SEO stuff scares me to death. The Facebook stuff, I know how to make a post. I'm not a good content writer. That bothers me and scares me. So I'm just get it all out there. So I know that, the Lord has spoken to me through dreams. The Lord has prophesied to me. And I can tell you through both of those means, I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. And that is a scary place. So I'm going to have to step off the branch, so to speak, that was literally told that I was going to have to do years ago. So that's where I am. I just don't know what to do. I do know that probably just in talking to you and Maggie just briefly the other day, that I probably don't need to jump on that e-commerce stuff like you said, that I just need to get some products out there and show what I've done in the past and maybe go ahead and do a few pieces. I just know in the long run, I want to eventually, because I've invested in the iPad with the Procreate to learn to design digitally. And I do want to print things off, make things easier, because that's huge right now. Downloading digital prints, or having an inventory at a e-commerce place where they have the product, they put my design on it, and they ship it. And I know there's cost to all that. So there's steps that I'm going to have to take. So I just, like after the second week, I was like, okay, this is all wonderful, but where do I start?
Yeah.
Where do I start? So I started designing my logo, and I showed it to you, Daphne. And I'll be dog if I didn't go and look, and someone has one very similar to that, another artist, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I don't know. I may go back to the drawing board on that one. So I've been an artist that's just been making hobby money. And without sounding arrogant, I know I can do a lot more. And I know that God wants me to. So,
And the cool thing about it, and so this is to encourage you, you don't have to have everything laid out before you can start making money, right? So you don't have to have like your website published and all this stuff going on and all these pieces before you're like, okay, I hit the go button, now I can make money. You can make money along the way and continue to work on and build this thing out. So the good thing about an online business is that it does not function like a brick and mortar. With a brick and mortar, you have to sort of have it all set up. You need the store, to lease the space, and the store needs to be set up, and there needs to be inventory in there. And then you have a grand opening, you open the doors. And I think a lot of people tend to think of like their business that way. But then with online stuff, it really doesn't work that way necessarily. Not saying that you can't do it that way, but it doesn't have to. So that's the good thing, is that even though you're sort of you feel scattered, right, with the direction you want to go in, the thing that the product that you're creating, your artwork, you can still make money with it along the way as you get these other things accomplished. And so that's really cool. And how do you normally get your business or your jobs now? Like, there's people that know you, referrals, how does that work?
all of that. I've got 2 or 3 that keep coming back, and it might be every 3-6 months or whatever. But referrals and my friends and people will just Google, and they have found me. At one point a few years ago, I came up on the very top here in Murfreesboro, but I know nothing about SEO, and so you can't find me now. But it would say calligraphy plus art, and it would take you to my Facebook page. But I did not invest in making, doing the ads and things, because I'm just a stickler about spending money when I might make $20 this week and maybe 200 in a month, So, I mean, I've been blessed that, the Lord's allowed me through my husband to be able to stay home. We're not like rolling in it by any means, but, and I've offered to go to work, and he's like, no, you're not going to be happy. This is what you're supposed to be doing. So it's just a matter of just taking it up a notch, and getting going with it. But yeah, that's how I get it, through things like that. The lady that contacted me here was through another artist friend of mine, and she had done a project, something similar. And she wrote me through Messenger, said, Dina, I can't do this. Can I give her your name and number? And I'm like, of course, and she didn't contact me for about 2 months. So I thought, oh, well, that just fell away. But then she finally did. And now I'm like, now I know why she didn't want to do it. I'm like, shoot.
Yeah, you end up with some of those jobs sometimes.
Yeah, and it's a meaningful one. It's a good one, but I lost money on it just because I didn't realize the intensity of it. So that's a learning curve too. But
yeah, and I think the probably the biggest channel for you to sort of gain some of that trust and also some recognition locally would be utilizing your Facebook page, or even your so you need to post some of this stuff on your Facebook page, but as you're working, sort of post like some of your struggles, or even like what you're working on without showing the piece you're working on. Like you've been really sort of creative with doing that. I've seen some of your posts where you'll post something sort of in the background and blur what you're working on. And I think that intrigues people. And it also keeps that, it lets them sort of keeps it in the back of their mind all the time that she's an artist, she's working, she's an artist, she's working. Because if people think it's a hobby, right, then they don't necessarily treat you like you have a business. But if you treat this like a business and you're showing people, this is what I do every day, this is what I do to make money, this is what I do, like as a service, as a ministry, all these other things, right, then it sort of like it's kind of always at the forefront of people's mind that when they think of you, they think of art, right? Or they think of, so, I mean, they might not reach out to you right away, but then a couple months goes by and they need something where they think, oh, that would be like perfect if I know somebody that does just that, or even in conversation, right? So that's what the good thing about social media is, that you can utilize, and I know that you've always, before, this season in your life where you were, really going through a hard time, but you were always really good about posting what you were thinking and what you were doing and, sort of something like that. And I think that if you did that with your art, that would probably benefit you the most right now, and maybe bring in some more, customers in addition. And then that would help you build out this other stuff that is going to cost you money, so yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's confirmation, because I did have that thought the other day. I thought, okay, as soon as I get that logo and finished, I'm going to announce, hey, I got a new name change. Here's my logo, and I'm fixing to ramp things up. And
Yeah, yeah.
So Dina, I wanted to comment about the logo.
Yeah.
So I found this, I think it's called is it Up something? Where you hire people? Upwork. Okay, Upwork. So we've had a few logos done, but we found one guy who's really amazing. But they will you'll find people, you can bid for them to make you a logo, and you end up with a logo for under $50.
Yeah.
And I love my logo. And then he sent it to me in every form I needed. And I just sent him ideas. Like, I kind of like this, that, and that, and so that's another way to save time, or I would have been working on my logo for hundreds of hours, probably. So just an idea.
Well, thank you for that. And I'm over here like too proud to want to do something. Well, I don't want to spend money. And I'm like, no, I can do that myself.
You know what, Tina? I totally get that. And I'm the same way. And because I started this business as a graphic designer, it was like it became a pride issue for me. Like, I was doing things myself, and now I realize I can't, and the things that, I can outsource, I will, because they help me up. Like I just was forever held up with these things. Now, obviously, this is your logo. So, you get to decide how you do it and what it looks like. But, Daphne and it took us a while to make our logo for MarketU, right? Like it did. It took us a while.
Also,
and then
it
got to the point where I was like, no, that's it. We're going to do it today.
I would have done it completely different. I would have gone on we talk about this in our course, but there's a software that we use to create. I would have used that and just been done with it. Maggie's like, oh, no. Let me just do this in, was it Photoshop or Illustrator, right?
Yeah.
So she opens up her Illustrator and I'm there just like watching her work, like, okay, and because she was the same way. She wanted to create it. She's like, I can do this. I can do this. So she did. And she did a great job. Like, I love it. Yeah,
it did. It ate up a lot of it.
And I appreciate that tip, Candy, because if I get stuck, I may have to do that. But
yeah,
I'm just not 100% satisfied. I like it, but I'm just not sure. I'm not even sure about my colors,
That's why we went with a gradient on ours. We weren't sure either. We chose we were like, let's do all the colors.
Great.
I'm going to copy you just like that. My name's going to have the same lettering.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you for the advice. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Anytime. Okay, Hope, your turn.
Well, I make caramels for a living. I actually was a stay-at-home mom for, well, up until the pandemic began. I was a graphic designer. That's what I went to school for. And that's what my degree is in. And when I started to stay home with the kids, it just got too hard to sit for long periods of time trying to do work for other people. So I had to kind of let that go and morphed more into the cake decorating, cookies, cupcakes, all the fancy stuff. And I did that for quite a while. I just wanted some way to contribute financially to the household, not just, I know I shouldn't say just raising our kids, but as well as raising our kids. And I made a salted caramel cupcake that my husband had taken to the hospital where he was working to a coworker. And the coworker said, "Oh my gosh, this is so good. Can I just get the filling?" And so Brady comes home and he's like, "So this is what he asked for." I'm like, "I don't know, maybe, I guess." And so I had to cook the caramel longer. I cut them, I wrapped them in wax paper and sent them in with my husband. And that completely changed everything. That was in 2015.
Wow.
So I've been doing it a long time out of my house. And then my husband, so he'd been working at the hospital as he worked in the emergency department in the psych hospital. And 2019, Good Friday was his last day at the hospital, and he came to work with me full time.
Wow.
And then March of 2020, the week before the pandemic began, we leased our commercial kitchen space. And a week later, the world shut down. But because we were considered food, thankfully, we could actually go to work. So while everybody else in the world was staying home, I was actually going outside of the house to work for the first time in 18 years at that point. So it was a huge transition. And because we were then in a commercial kitchen, we could start doing wholesale, we could do farmers markets. So it kind of opened up a world that we hadn't even been able to touch, because everything we had done at that point had been online, retail, or, friends of friends of friends. So now we do have some retail stores that we sell to, and we do farmers markets and other festivals, and like Brady, we just did the Wilmington Flower Market. That was a couple weeks ago. It was 3 days. He's got one coming up this Saturday that he'll go to up near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So I say all that. So our online presence is okay. We're on Etsy. Etsy's trying to be Amazon. It wants to compete with Amazon, but we're micro businesses that don't have the ability to send out everything for free because they want everything done free shipping. And because we don't do free shipping, now they take 5% of our shipping charges. So I'm losing 5% on the shipping plus the 5% that they take for each order or each caramel bag we sell. So, and Etsy's thing is, we put your name out there, and we're kind of doing this behind the scenes marketing for you, but we really haven't seen much traffic from that as far as Etsy's as far as we're concerned with Etsy. So that's why we're making the transition to a new e-commerce platform. So that's that. One of our big things, so markets are fine, wholesale is good to a point, but we really need to increase our online presence way more, because And it needs to be, like you guys have been saying, organic, because really who's been coming back are, people who've ordered from us before, which is fine. But your new people are really is what helps to kind of drive your numbers up. And we're just not seeing a whole lot of that. Now, we did have, I had posted to my Google business at the end of April, I think, or beginning of May, where I kind of put in where we were going to be over the month and that kind of stuff. And I noticed that we had a kind of a uptick in sales online from that. So I don't know if that was just because of that, or if that just, it just happened at the same time. I'm not sure. But a lot of the stuff that I'm learning, I'm kind of regurgitating it all to Brady, and he's like, that is a lot of great information. I can't wait to see what you do. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm very excited. And I talked to Maggie yesterday, and we kind of walked through, the Shopify versus the SiteRush, and just realized, for us at least, that the Shopify is going to work better for us at this point, like for now at least. And so that helps. That's helped me, because now I'm starting to write content and things like that. But for us, it's just my husband and I, and he left his job, which left his very, very nice paycheck, which left our benefits, which left, so we're kind of, a little bit on state assistance, which I never thought I'd say, trying to pay our bills every month, and also knowing that this is what God has called us to do. Part of this business isn't just about caramels, and I was telling Maggie this yesterday. 10% of everything we make goes to a nonprofit, whether it's national or local, for nonprofits fighting human trafficking. And at some point, our goal, our desire, our mission is to hire victims of human trafficking, and to be able to give them, teach them new skills and give them a fair wage, and just kind of help them, move onto a better path for their future. And that's a lot of caramels we have to sell, in order for that to happen. So, so for us, it's not just about, yes, it's about, we need to pay our bills. We need to be able to live. I have a kid in college, and I have one who's a sophomore getting ready to go into college in 2 years. And, you gotta have money for that. And I want to be able to pay my bills, but I also want to be able to do what God has called us to do, and to be able to just to fulfill that mission. That's super important to Brady and I. And so I feel like right now, a lot of the ways for that to happen, because, we can do wholesale, but I'm not in those stores. I can't market those our caramels for them. Like, they have to sell our caramels because it's their store. And we can sell it at farmers markets and festivals, and we do great. And, we sell really, really well, but we don't have that every weekend. And it's really hard to do that every weekend. We have a family, right? Yeah. So I feel like our online presence is really where it's the importance of having a better online presence, is having those backlinks, having, all those other things. But I got to tell you, like, I don't even, I sat in that, the training that first week, and I was like, oh yeah, I took notes. I'm like, yeah, this would be so easy. And now 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks later, I'm going, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, because, it's right then and there, I've got the information. I'm like, yeah, I could totally do this. But then, 3 weeks later, life has happened and other things have taken place. And now I'm going back, looking at it, going, I don't remember, what was I supposed to do, and how was I supposed to do this? Yeah. So for me, I feel like that is so important to do, because we just really need revenue. Like, we really need to be able to boost that revenue quickly, right now,
Right.
instead of waiting, oh, I'll do this in a few months once I finally, come around to it. So
Yeah,
it's,
you don't have that privilege, it's not like you've got this Kickstarter backing, right?
right.
Where you're going in. But one of the great things listening to you talk is that I feel like God has really given you this time to figure out what your business end game is. You already know that. Like you already know what the long-term goals here, and it doesn't actually have to do with the caramels itself. It's the changing that you want to bring to people's lives. And now it's finding clever ways to get that, to bring that to fruition, like however God plans that for you. But one of the things that I think having a really strong online presence will do for you and for Brady and for your family and for Hope's Caramels is give you a foundation. Because once you've got this website, once you do a few press releases and you can put on your website featured on CBS, featured on Forbes, featured on CNN, people see those badges and it automatically legitimizes you. Then you get your social media, whether you spend a weekend and do the whole month ahead of time, and you just make sure there's stuff feeding in there all the time to the different platforms, or Brady helps you with it. You can go to the big dogs. Like, wouldn't it be really great to send a box of caramels to United Airlines and be like, I would like to partner with you. This is what my business is. You can check me out online. We have been featured on Forbes and blank and blank and blank. And that gives you the ability to go to the big dogs so you can sell them wholesale. So they can get your name. So everyone on the plane is unwrapping a Hope's caramel, right? That's how it starts, And so the great thing about this is that organic traffic that you can create, other than, the hard costs for paying for, a press release, even if you just do it once so you can legitimately put those badges on your site, it's really just your time at that point. Because we will teach you how to do all this stuff. And the trainings in the course, a lot of them are from the live trainings we did when you were on the Secrets of Organic Traffic. So you can go back and watch those. And as you do, you can take notes in there in the course yourself. You can type notes to yourself. We're continuing to add the downloads for you, so you can go and download things. So, I mean, it's just you're like, this is your way of unlocking something so much bigger. But just do it one thing at a time. Just one little.
Yeah, definitely. That's such an interesting story. And then I really feel this is so special for me and Megan. We've told you this so many times, but God really has brought everybody that's in this group together, right? And the thing is, we're all women in business, and we have men in our group. We're all people in business that have a vision, right, much bigger than the business. We have a vision much bigger than making money and making a living. And what I get excited about, I love talking about business inside of the framework of, the Bible and God's will. But the thing is, like, God wants you, right, to prosper. He's given you your skills and your abilities, right? Each one of us has different skills and abilities, talents, and, things that, where we have strengths in. And then he gave you like the Bible talks about, he's given us the work of our hands, right? So each one of us, right, has a work of our hands, something that we're good at, something that we're doing, something that we're using, right, to not only provide a living for ourselves, which is what God wants also, because he talks about that fruit of your labor, but he also has given us a vision. Each one of you has a vision for something bigger than what you're doing, right? Bigger than the blogs and the music, bigger than the art, bigger than the caramels, right? It's like bigger than that. You want to reach people and touch people and help people, in different ways. And that's what me and Maggie want to do. We want to actually help business owners, right? So it's not just, it's not just doing what we do, right? Oh yeah, we're getting our kicks building websites. it's like we want to help business owners succeed, you know, and you guys have a vision for something that's bigger than you. And so I just really think that that's very special. And I feel like, you know, God is doing this. God is bringing all of this together. And this is an answer to me and Maggie's prayers, because we were just like nervous as well. You know, when we sort of created what we, you know, this MarketU, we were like wanting it to be bigger than us, but also like, you know, you're still really nervous because you know, you want to see that vision fulfilled. You don't want to just do the thing. You want to do the bigger thing. You want to reach people, right? And you want to help people. And each one of you want to do that. And I think God's going to honor that. I think he does honor that. And I think he has like great things in store for you guys and for this group and, you know, for everything that you're doing. And just know that, that, yeah, you're in the right place, that the Lord has, you know, sort of brought you here and brought us here at this, you know, time and space, right? But then also that because he's done that, he has a plan and he's going to continue to bring this forward. So I think that part is like the trust. We don't need to know how necessarily. We just need to trust and believe that he is and that he's doing, right? And I just think it's so interesting. I'm just sitting here like as a listener right now, just listening to all of you like, wow, this is so crazy, because everybody wants something bigger than themselves. It'd be different if we had somebody in the group and they're like, I just want to make $1 million and I want money and all this kind of stuff, right? And so, and there are people like that. We're in groups like that. And that's all they talk about is the money, you know? And so, but this group is not like that. It's like, yeah, everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants their piece of the pie, right? Everybody wants something a little bit bigger than themselves, right? Everybody has a vision for success and prosperity, but there's more to it than that. Like you guys are going for something more than that. And I just love that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. This makes me excited.
Me too. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I feel the warm fuzzies.
You know, Daphne and I had talked about this too, and I know we shared it with you as well. But I mean, praying over who God brought to this group the first time around, we have someone in every stage of business, right? We have people who can tell from hindsight and people who are only looking forward because they're at a starting point. And there's so much to share with each other there. Then there becomes this collaboration where, you know, you guys can go to Hope because she's actually done something where she is working in e-commerce market. If you have questions, she'd be there to, you know, you post in the group, she's going to answer you, right? Like she's going to get there and be like, ooh, cool. Like I know how to do this. Like I'm going to share this with you, right? And that's one of the biggest parts of what makes these groups so important for small business owners. It's not just, you know, to get in there and learn new things, but it's to get in there and have that constant sense of community. There are other people who are doing things that you're doing. You're not on your own. It's a safe place to reach out with questions and help, but then you get to be on the other side and you get to help the people who come in after you and say, oh, I didn't know this 3 months ago, but I have the answer to this, right? And so you can go in there and respond to them in the group and people are like, wow, like Dina knows everything. How did she do that? You know, but we don't, I don't know everything. Daphne doesn't know everything. But you get like, it does create this sort of bond within the group. And one of the most important things that Daphne and I have sort of gleaned from the, I don't know how many groups we've been members of, not run, but members of, is that that's where the gold is. You know, when it's handled correctly, those groups aren't just about communication and signing people up for things that they may or may not want. It's about the community where you can come and collaborate because we all are in our own space. We all are in our own lives and it can be very isolating. I think especially the last 2.5 years for small business owners has been especially isolating. And so that was sort of the brainchild for this too, is how do we get people together so that they can share? And not everyone who's a part of this group or will be is going to believe the things that the 5 of us happen to stand on solid ground about, right? But then that's a chance for us to witness too. So kind of comes full circle.
Yeah. No, and this is a passion of mine, is talking. My husband and I are this way, but we love talking about business, because business for us is our ministry, right? And so a lot of people will look at ministry as like being on a pulpit or preaching or teaching or singing, right? And those are in their minds what ministry is. But ministry is a lot more than that, and God's vision, right, to touch the world was bigger than that. And so for us, we were mentored by people in church that had large ministries, but were very passionate about business, right? And so we started to realize, oh my God, like if we looked at our business as a ministry, how would that, like, how would we treat that differently? How would we go about that differently? And it really changed our perspective on everything, actually, on everything. And so, and Maggie and I have talked about this a lot, but we have a completely different view than the world does about what business is. For the world, business is like, making money, driving Lamborghinis, owning big houses, flashing your money, like this whole, there's a whole culture surrounding business and money, right? But like for us, it is ministry, right? Because that's what we're like. Our businesses are, in other words, right? And like for Candy, it literally is her ministry. And like for Dina, right, it's her ministry, right? And for Hope, like it's your ministry. So it's like awesome to like be facilitate a group like this. Excuse me, I don't know if I froze. To facilitate a group like this where other people have that vision as well and feel like they have that calling. So I just want you to I guess keep that in mind, that your business is your ministry. Like you don't have to go outside of your business to be like, oh, I need to, I did this, but now I need to go do that and be a ministry. And I heard this story. I think it was I forgot who was telling the story, but he was talking about a doctor who's like a neurosurgeon, right? And he would say, he spent all his days saving lives, like literally saving lives. And he was very skilled at what he did, very highly paid at what he did. And I mean, he was a believer, he was a Christian, right? But he would spend, the hours in the OR and hours at the hospital, right? And then on his like vacation time, he felt obligated to go and serve like homeless people, because he was like, okay, well, I got to get this ministry thing in, right? Like I need to serve God this way. And then someone sort of stopped, like, wait, you save lives for a living, like that's your ministry, that's your work to God, like that is your ministry. And he was like, like he had never thought that what he did was a ministry, was his service to God, right? He thought he had to serve God in these other very traditional ways, and not in the way that he was doing. He had to like scramble and go like, feed homeless people. And I know there's nothing wrong with that. Like obviously sometimes people love to volunteer, but he was doing it feeling like he had to get some ministry in there because, he was so busy working, until this minister pointed out to him, like, you're saving lives all day long with your hands. You're serving God in this whole other way. Like nobody can do what you do. Like, and he had to look at what he did as his profession as a ministry, right? And I just thought that was like very telling of how we tend to think of our businesses, right? We think of it, it's just SEO, or we're just building a website for somebody, but we're really touching their lives and changing a lot of times their businesses, and you guys, completely same thing, you're doing that in your businesses, you're touching lives, right? And so I am so excited for what God is doing in our group and what he's doing with MarketU and in all of your businesses. I'm excited about it because for sure God has plans for you guys. And Maggie and I are like really excited about that. We're trying to be good stewards and do all the things right now. So
Good deal. Well, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. So good.
Is there anything else anybody wants to add, Maggie?
No, that was great. I just love hearing the three of you talk.
Yeah.
About,
That was fun.
yeah, that's really cool.
Oh my goodness. We have a whole gamut of people in here that are different, like you said, at different stages. And it's really cool to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So awesome.
So we're excited. Yeah. And if you want to share the group, share that. You can share that from the group. You can click the share button or the invite button. You can invite people into the group, but you can also share it on your Facebook, or if you're in a different group and you want to share our group, you can certainly do that if the admins let you do that. And then if there's anybody you know that would like to be a part of our group, or even just be on the Zooms, like they don't have to be, part of our course
Right,
yet,
right.
to be inside of these weekly Zooms to talk about their business or even introduce themselves. Sometimes people will use that as an opportunity to get on a platform and say, this is my business, this is what I do, and I would love it if you can support me. And we're totally fine with that. So this is why we decided to do it this way.
Very good.
All right, girl.